Hey Ash, how we doing?
Good, good. How are you, Greg?
Yep, good, good. It's actually a beautiful day in towards the end of September. It is down where I am anyway.
Wet and
It's
rainy and cold up here.
no, it's sunny here and it's quite warm. I took the dogs out for an hour and a half this morning and I was roasting. No coat, nothing.
It's cold here. Got the windows shut
I've got the
for the
window
first
shut
time, I
now.
think.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you are up north, aren't you? So it's
Winter's
colder up
definitely.
there.
These early mornings have been dark and
Yeah, yeah,
wet and
cold.
rainy. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
miserable. It definitely doesn't feel
Definitely.
like summer anymore.
No, it's definitely got into winter. Well, apparently there's a heat wave coming, so
Is there?
apparently the weather say. So we'll see. We'll see.
Fair enough.
Something about
We'll
to do
see.
with a storm in America. Sends hot weather here or something. I don't
Okay.
know.
Works well. Yeah.
Maybe.
We will see. We will see. So we are. It's a good opportunity. It's a weekend. We can go to a pub. I don't know what. When I'm looking that way, I'm looking out the window, um, to see what the weather's like. So if anybody thinks, "What the hell am I doing?" Um, yeah, good opportunity to go to another couple of pubs. So where are we going first, Ash?
So for me, we have been in Manchester recently, and I believe you're still in Manchester. However, I'm taking a little jaunt down the M62 over to Liverpool
Oh,
for this one, to the land of Scouse. So I am visiting, figuratively, a pub called the Philharmonic Dining Rooms in Liverpool.
okay,
So let me just
okay,
bring the picture up.
yeah, okay, cool.
Big,
Been to
massive,
Liverpool many times.
same. Same. As you can see, dazzling and flamboyant. The Philharmonic Pub on Hope Street has its own place in history as the most ornate pub in England.
Wow, not the most haunted then.
No, the most ornate. I don't even
It
know what that
looks nice.
means, but yeah.
Decorated, decorated, like
Ah, okay. It
ornaments,
looks nice when you're
ornate.
outside.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a nice
Yeah.
sort of building structure
Mm,
compared to some of the pubs we look at and talk about. Some of them are
quite
diners
plain.
diners drive-in and dives, but this actually looks quite nice.
Known as the Phil, the magnificent hostelry takes its name from Liverpool's Philharmonic Hall, which is opposite this pub. Commissioned between 1898 and 1900, it is a showpiece in the style of a gentleman's club, originally built for the elite, and certainly looks like it, as you can see.
Yeah,
On the
nice.
on the inside, it gets even more lavish. The toilets are very posh. It's all wood panel everywhere. It's very, very posh inside as well. And with the Royal Liverpool Philharmonic Orchestra, Choir, and Society so close, it has long been a favourite with concert goers and performers alike. The Royal Liverpool Philharmonic Orchestra is actually the oldest surviving symphony orchestra in the UK.
Okay, nice.
Pretty cool. Lots of big words in that sentence
Yeah,
as well.
well done.
A quick digress, actually, as the Liverpool Philharmonic Hall has its own ghosts that I've been seeing wandering the
Okay,
corridors and rooms, including a priest, a gardener from Victorian times, and even a werewolf, believe it or not.
werewolf, nice. We haven't really done much on werewolves, have we?
No, no, we need to.
Mm.
Back to the pub anyway.
Yep.
And that's also well haunted by a banshee and several unknown ghosts. The most spectacular haunting to take place there occurred in 1971 when Walter Slim, a man who'd been dead for 83 years, walked into the pub and bellowed to the barman, "In the name of human charity, I'll have your gin, sir."
What
And he was
accent was
dressed.
that?
I don't know.
It
What
kind
definitely
of went
wasn't
American at
Scouse.
the end. No, it definitely wasn't
Definitely
Scouse.
wasn't Scouse. I wouldn't even try and do a Scouse one. I'll probably offend too many people. And this
Sorry.
man, he was dressed in the top hat and cape and was actually served the gin, which he drank before leaving. The ghost told bemused drinkers his name and that he'd been disturbed from his deathly sleep in his tomb at a local cemetery. Naturally, people thought it was a prankster, someone having a laugh. Like you wouldn't expect someone to come in, tell you that they're a ghost, and demand the gin and actually get served it and didn't have to pay. But later that week, police discovered that Satanists had broken into the tomb of a guy called Walter Slim, who died in 1888 and was buried in the nearby St. James's Cemetery.
Wow.
Which itself is quite a spectacular cemetery. There's like 59,000 bodies buried there. And every inch of the place there's bodies underneath.
Wow.
You can't take a step without actually walking above where there's bodies buried.
Okay.
And not only had they opened his lead-lined coffin, in which the body had been perfectly preserved, they had carried out an elaborate black magic ritual called the octogenesis of resurrection, by which means a corpse is supposedly brought back to life.
Wow.
So quite a dark, scary story of Satanists bringing back this body, and he went to the pub and got a drink, naturally. Aside from that, there's been many sightings of the ghost of a clown making an entrance at the bar. Another very scary. Like you have a ghost, scary. Clowns are scary, and this is the ghost of a clown.
Oh.
So kind of
double whammy.
One. Yeah, yeah. So not even just a ghost, a clown ghost.
Wow.
There's been reports of banshee-like wails coming from the cellars. A banshee, as we discussed in previous episodes, like a wailing woman, basically, and they've heard that coming from the cellars again, which would be pretty scary.
Disturbing.
All this happened at once. It's like a nightmare. Isn't it? You got a guy coming back from the dead, coming and getting a drink. You got a clown at the bar. And you got these wails coming from the cellar.
Have you seen? Just while we're talking about all of that happening, have you seen Hell House, the film Hell House?
No.
There's clown sort of ghosts and stuff like that in there. So that sounds just like Hell House. So if you get an opportunity to watch it, it's a very good film. Anyway.
Scary. And one of the final ghosts is an old man in a cloth cap who sits in a corner and mutters away to himself before disappearing when anybody gets near to him.
Wow.
So this kind of keeps to himself rather than being noisy and making a nuisance like the others.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, quite a few interesting stories there from the Philharmonic dining rooms in Liverpool.
Yeah, it's nice. It's quite dark, the whole Satanist thing.
Crazy.
Because that was one of my questions that we've never really talked about. And I was thinking about the question, you kind of answered it, at what point after you die do you come back as a ghost? Is it instant, or is it several years later, or because we've never really discussed that, I don't think. And I was thinking like when you mentioned 84 years, or it was 84 years, wasn't it? 80 odd years.
83, yeah.
83, sorry. 83 years since he died, and then he came back. And I was thinking, I wonder what the rule is, or what the process is. And then you said it was the Satanists that just dug up, and they'll go, okay, at that point, that's when
ritual.
That's when he's come back. Interesting. That's a good one. I like that. So I am going to a place called the Fleece Inn. This is a grade 2 listed building in the Westgate area of Elland in West Yorkshire. So I think that's just outside. It's near you, isn't it? Somewhere.
Not far from Greater Manchester.
Yeah. It dates back to 1600s. Got you. I just don't know. Like I said,
highest motorway in England, actually.
Is it?
Yeah, besides the highest motorway in England, M62 Summit near Huddersfield.
Anyway, anything above Birmingham, as I've said, that's the north, and I don't really. I'm starting to know because we've been to Cannock and obviously I've been up to see you guys a few times now, Chester and Manchester. So getting there. Slow Delamere Forest. So I'm getting there. I've been up quite a few times now. So it's grade 2 listed building, 1600s. Unsurprisingly, it's said to be very, very haunted. So let me bring up my picture of my pub. Not my pub, but it is a lovely,
very big and very nice and big.
yeah, it looks really nice in the summer. I take it that was a summer picture. Yeah,
Looks like
really
a
nice
painting,
looking pub.
actually.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? It looks really, really grand. And it looks like the kind of place that'd be haunted. So haunted, in fact, I don't know whether this gives it any credibility whatsoever, but the Most Haunted team spent a night there in 2017, and it was an eventful night indeed, which it always is with Most Haunted. And so what I'm about to say, based on what we know about Most Haunted, take it maybe with a pinch of salt, but the landlady was involved, so I don't know. It may add credence to it. So during the show, when they were filming, the landlady, a woman named Christine Watson, whilst being interviewed, was left significantly shaken when a wooden bar chair was violently hurled over the upstairs banister, landing mere meters away from her.
Dramatic.
However, based on footage that we've seen upstairs and a 30th drive with Carl Beatty, the man from Most Haunted, Yvette's husband, being pulled up the stairs by a rope. Unless there was cameras there that caught it out, I'm a bit skeptical, but pretty dark anyway. But just who or what could this violent entity be? Could it be the spirit of a man during a violent argument with a con man in the 19th century, was left to bleed to death on the staircase? He and his victim are both thought to have stayed on at the pub after the earthly departure. But with as many as 15 spirits said to call the 400-year-old Fleece Inn their home, it might be challenging to pinpoint who is exactly to blame for some of the more terrifying paranormal activity. Spirits aren't just confined to the interior of the building. Just outside, the bizarre ghost of Old Leathery Coit. So that's a headless man in a long tattered leather coat, rides in a passenger carriage that similarly headless horses pull.
Nice.
Spooky. So interestingly, there's a place near me called the Devil's Coits. And that's I think that's to do with some kind of headless thing there. So
what does coits mean?
Don't know. This one is where it is in Whitney. It's like a stone circle, a man-made stone circle. And it's it's quite weird. I've been there with dowsing rods, and you walk into the perimeter of the into the stone circle, massive thing. And as you walk over the boundary, the dowsing rods cross. And multiple people done it blindfolded, and it all happened at the same spot in between each rock. And the rocks are like 6 foot tall, big old thing. So interesting.
I just googled it, and every result just comes back to a game in which you throw rings over a small post.
So maybe so coits could be ring. So the devil's ring, devil's coits, that could be this a stone circle. But in this term, old leathery coit, I don't know what that might be, but thank you, Ash, for double checking that for me. That's good. So the phantom carriage, usually preluded by a rapid gust of wind, is said to drive at speed from Westgate to Old Earth before returning to the barn area outside the pub. Several mediums that have visited over the years claim they've picked up on a menacing spirit of a grumpy man that walks around the building, said to be an old shepherd, who is somewhat unpredictable and has even been blamed for once wrecking the pub's storeroom. Furthermore, the presence of a young pregnant woman who was murdered by her lover sometime in the 17th century is also fond of staying at the Fleece Inn in the afterlife. However, relatively modern day spirits live on, so to speak, at the pub. A young motorcyclist who tragically died outside the pub in the 1970s, that was, is said to linger on within the historic building walls. So new spirits as well as old spirits. So
There's quite a lot going on.
Yeah, it gets worse. So the amount of paranormal activity witnessed at the Fleece Inn is nothing short of intriguing, from phantom smells of pipe smoke. And I've smelt cigarette smoke on an investigation before, and it's quite profound because it's quite a distinct smell. Footsteps, voice, glass smashing, scratching noises, to even furniture being moved. It all goes on at this pub. Although this poltergeist type activity isn't the only way in which the spirits make themselves known. Many a punter have reported being watched by unseen eyes, or even more creepily, the feeling that someone is breathing on their necks. That's got to be pretty weird. Initially skeptical of the ghost stories coming out of the Fleece Inn, landlady Christine soon turned to paranormal believer when she was awoken from her slumber to find a figure standing at the bottom of her bed in the early hours of the morning. Whilst trying to rouse her husband, the figure simply and inexplicably vanished. However, she became increasingly concerned when her young son grew upset that his toys were being moved. Christine then decided to place flour on the floor and secured the area to solve the mystery. Disturbingly enough, when she investigated the following day, the flour had distinct track marks running through it, but no feet marks. The family soon accepted the bizarre happenings and have not felt threatened by the spectres they share the home with since. With its unusual amount of ghostly activity, is it any wonder that scores of visitors make a beeline for this West Yorkshire gem? And it is a beautiful pub, so I imagine it gets a lot of visitors anyway. But with that backstory as well and things happening. But again, where's the footage of all of this? Where's the camera? Where are the photographs that people are clearly not taking?
Like we
said,
footage, well, like tracks going through the flower and stuff, and you think that you've had someone coming into the room or your son's room. Photo it. Oh,
yeah.
set up a camera.
I think that is the thing. As we see more and more, it's like everybody's got their phone usually to hand or around them. And I know if I'm out and about, I've got my phone in my pocket at all times. And I know sometimes that's probably the last thing that you're going to think of doing is to take a photo. However, something where you've got a bit of time and the tracks in the flower, that's something that you could take a photo of, or put up a little ring camera or something in the bedroom so it records when there's movement. You know what I mean?
Imagine
Just
like
something.
capturing the moment when like then tracks are made in the flower.
Yeah.
And seeing like the tracks like appear like with nothing there, or maybe it catches something there.
Yeah. I've seen the toys move on their own.
Toy Story.
So I'd be impressed if the toys went in different directions as well, rather than just in one long train like they're being pulled. So if they went in different directions, specifically against a wall, that would be interesting, because you can't pull something towards a wall without at least seeing what's pulling it, I suppose. So yeah, interesting pub. A few different stories, a few different spirits, and quite a recent one from the 70s. So
yeah, that was cool. Awesome.
There we go. And that's another couple of pubs we visited, and hopefully you'll join us again for the next episode where we discuss more pubs. We've got, I don't even think we've scratched the surface of pubs.
Got like the whole of the northwest.
We've got a whole of northwest, northeast, and then we hit everything south of Manchester. And then
we've got Wales.
Yeah.
Northern Ireland.
Yeah. And then the whole of the south of England, and that's a big old place. We've got London to hit, And I'm pretty sure that London and Greater London is going to have some huge numbers of pubs. So yeah,
A couple of years left in this series, I think.
Yeah, that's it. We will be milking it. But be prepared for maybe a book series around the haunted pubs. You never know. You never know. So yeah, thanks for joining us. If you've got a local pub that you've got spirit in or whatever, let us know, and we can maybe add that into one of the episodes as we hit that city or that area of the country. That'd be really cool. Nice.